All right, so now we've got it loosely cleared here, as you can see, minus the dog. All right, welcome to the meat of trail building. The first thing you need to do is mark your trail. So behind me here, this is where we're going through. You can see it's quite congested, but we're basically going to bench cut across this slope here. And in order to do that, we have to choose our line. So it comes up here, then it traverses across, and then it drops back down. So again, we're going to be riding those contours, trying to get that rhythm and that flow. You can see there's that beautiful, I don't know, it might be a beach right there. We want to stay upslope of that, okay? If we go down, we're basically going to have to bench cut, which means bench cutting is literally like cutting out a bench in the side of the trail, so it looks like a bench. We're going to have to go deep, which means we'll have to kill those roots. If we go above, then the bench cut actually stays above, and we pull the soil above the tree over, and we actually protect the roots better. So where you can, always try and go upslope of trees. First thing we got to do is mark the trail. I have another video on what what and how you should mark the trail. You can watch that. Today I'm going to be using my grog squeezer. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the trees that I'm not chopping down. Here it looks like there's not actually a lot to mark on, probably about 3-4 trees. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to walk my line as best I can. And it's probably worth mentioning, for when you're walking through scraggly bush like this, I like to wear something that is actually kind of protective. So I walk up here, I know I want to be on the right side of the tree, so I come in and I just mark it like that. Super easy. And then I spot my next tree that I'm not going to chop down, because it looks like there's a dead hawthorn there that I'm going to chop down. So just push through all this bush. Again, this is why it's great to have something that doesn't catch. Here, mark that. See that there? And then here's these two big, beautiful trees. So we'll mark this one on this side. That paint marker really works. And then here's the other one. So you just keep marking your line, and when you are done, that is the end of step one. Come here. That's a good boy. Clearing the trail is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's really in the name. Basically now we're starting to pull all the shit, and you can see there's a fair amount of it here that's in our line. So we're going to start clearing all that sort of stuff. Now, usually what I do is I walk through and I clear, but I'm being mindful of the big stuff. So when we're doing a bench cut, which is what we are doing here, we want to take the big stuff, and big stuff could be, basically anything like 6 inches round or larger of wood, rock, anything else that you might have, and you want to lay that down slope. What you are doing is you're creating what they call cribbing down slope, and that basically holds your fill soil. And that is incredibly important, because if you don't have that cribbing, your soil with the trail use and with water is just going to blow down slope. So you want to lay down that bulk material down slope of where your line is going to be. So I start doing that as I'm clearing. And one of the key things for laying cribbing down is always try and use something structural to lean it against if you can. If there is a tree that you can lean it against, against the trunk of the tree, that'll hold that cribbing material there for until it rots. And if it's rock, it'll hold it there basically forever. For clearing trail, one thing that's really handy to have is a saw. And I mean handy, like have a saw handy. It'll allow you to kind of cut through things as you go. I really like the side holster saw. This one unfortunately snapped, I got a little aggressive with it. Something like that. And then another great tool to have are snips. So just something to be trimming stuff back. grapevine. Grapevine is an invasive species, and it's like, it chokes out plants everywhere. My advice to you is anytime you see it, kill it. All right, so now we've got it loosely cleared here. As you can see, I've started laying down the cribbing. It's not the best cribbing, TBH. You know, I prefer to be larger, so I might see if I can source some bigger stuff. Here I've got a pretty decent fallen limb that should do the trick. It's in a Y, which you don't really want. Sometimes the Y is handy if you're trying to like notch it into an existing tree. It sometimes can be handy for interlocking, but for the most part, it's not great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off here, make it as straight as possible, and then you'll see we have quite a large piece that will be excellent cribbing. I'm also noticing over here, the city here has left some great pieces of asphalt. Welcome to the dawn, and we will be using those to hold in some of our cribbing. First things first, I'm going to grab this big guy right here. Every time you walk the trail, you're going to notice things need to get cut back. Noticing these branches here are now in the way, so that's got to go. That's got to go. Again, I really like this tool. Just a nice pair of snips. I find it's better than the saw. The saw kind of leaves a jagged edge against trees, and that you know, doesn't allow them to heal properly. You can see this is much better, much bigger diameter. We got a pretty decent sized log here, but we don't have anything holding it from falling downhill, so it's actually pretty stable. But you can see it wants to roll, right? Okay, that's not good. So what we are going to do is we are going to put rock in key spots, basically the ends. So that end and that end, we're going to drop some rock in there, and then we're going to cover it all with dirt and pack it down. So you see we've got a decent sized rock here. We're going to put it there, but you can see that it doesn't really want to stay there. Now we're going to pour dirt, pull dirt from over here and put it there. But one thing you can do is just to take your hoe and dig out a little bit of a trough for it, like this, and then just take that dirt that you've dug out and use that as backfill, using this rock, packing it in like that. Once rain gets on here, packs in this soil, this is going to hold it all in. It's wiggling a little bit now, but once we get dirt on there, it'll hold it into place here. But that is how you're going to keep your cribbing from falling downhill. So we're going to do that in key spots the whole way along here. What we've got here is some great overlapping. So this piece of cribbing that goes this way is overlapping with this piece of cribbing over here. That is key. You want to make sure you have that, because it's just like Lego, and the more you can lock it in, the better it's going to be. And then again, taking your hoe and just carving out a little spot, a little bed for your rock is great. Then drop that sucker in there, and then take your dirt and pack it in behind. If you don't have this, nothing is going to keep your soil this, so it's all packed down here and there's no cribbing. It's just going to go all the way down the hill. Every rainfall, every person who rides is going to go down slope, which means your trail will be at the bottom of the hill. As you go, you're going to realize you missed things when you were clearing and that trail, so just clearing as you go, always handy. And again, you want to, when you're clearing these things, go all the way down, because the next step where we're going to rake, the rake's going to get caught in all these. It's super frustrating. I hate it. All right, so you can see the cribbing here looking pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rake. I'm not going to rake just the width of what I want the trail to be. I'm actually going to rake a fair bit wider uphill, because I'm likely going to be taking a lot of that dirt and pulling it down and using it as fill in here for the cribbing. So don't just rake, you know, the 2 feet that your trail width is going to be. Go at least double that. So go at least 4 feet uphill. I'll probably go all the way up to that tree there and just rake this whole slope out. What you'll see has happened now is all this leaf matter, the organic matter, so this is like dirt with the top part of the dirt has a lot of organic material in it, and it's all been trapped by our cribbing. We don't want that. We want to pull that out. We want to pull all of those leaves out to make sure that you don't have any organic matter in here, because as you can imagine, all the water is going to come down here, right? And as it comes here, it's then going to hit this, and it's either going to flow over, which is the dream, or it's going to drop down here because things just permeate the trail surface. And then if it's got organic matter in here, it's going to trap it. And so this part of your tread is always going to be wet. So it's really key to get as much organic matter out of here as you can. It'll compact better because this stuff is springy, right? But dirt, once it packs down, isn't springy. So it's really great. And then you'll come across rocks as you build. Just drop those guys in there. Once you've got it to this state, you are ready for the bench cut. This is like where you know, the work begins, and really one of my favorite parts of trail building is the hard work. I get a lot out of putting a lot in. It's pretty cool, and I think you will too.